on this, I'm joined today by Suman Raman, sports commentator with me on the show, the Lipcharian image guru, Atul Vasan, former cricketer and analyst with us, and Dwipian Datta, sports journalist, Times of India, also joining us today. Welcome to all of you. Atul Vasan, I'm going to begin with your take on this. I'm told you're joining us from a boat in the middle of the sea at your holiday. So thank you for taking out the time. And this just tells me how interesting the story and these developments are to you and how closely you're tracking them, that you've taken out the time to speak with us. What do you make of the phenomenal numbers that we're hearing?
Well, it tells you it tells you that if I would have played IPL, then I would have hired a yacht. But, I can only afford a boat in the middle of Andaman Sea. So that's what I'm doing. But, crazy money. And I feel I'm one of the skeptics, and that's why people don't like me. Because, these kind of figures being thrown around for cricketers is just, that's why IPL became so big, because we have to take our hats off to Lal Modi, because the teams are forced to shell out a certain amount of money. It is not that if a player is being bought, you should leave it to the market forces. But there was a certain amount of money that a team had to spend, and that is why we are looking at these obscene figures. It's not that these figures will transcend into victories or results, but it's just the nature of the beast that when the IPL auctions come around, and mostly the big money goes to foreign players, which actually hurts my heart a little bit, because it's Indian Premier League. It's not a foreign Premier League.
Yeah, in fact, English players seem to be the flavor of the season. And I'm quickly going to ask Atul one more question till his connection's still alive. English players seem to be the flavor of the season. These particular players, and we've talked about how they've got these record deals. Why do you think so? What has been seen in them in terms of what they can deliver? Can you hear me?
I didn't get your question because the connection is really bad, but I'll try and answer that. I think the problem is that,
Yeah, go ahead. All right, I think I've lost his connection. I'll try and get him back. In the middle of the Andamans, on a boat, trying to speak to us about this and saying if he was an IPL player, he'd be on his private yacht. Suman Raman, let me come to you on what you make of the mini auctions. They're not mini by any stretch of the imagination, but what is it telling you about the demand for these players, about the games and the expectations from the 2023 edition of the IPL?
A lot of this, I agree with Atul, is quite irrational. There is obviously some logic which, has not been really apparent to a lot of us, which is why, despite the number of years it's been in existence, the participation of mainstream, industry and institutions in an event like the IPL, like it happens in many other countries around the world, is still limited. You've still got, it's more the rich fat cats wanting to show off that they own an IPL team, which is still largely driving the, driving the growth in the IPL as far as the ownership is concerned. But let's look at the numbers. Over the last few years, the IPL teams have started to make profits, not massive profits. Typically, an IPL team earns in the region of around 400 crores or thereabouts in one season. That's basically their share from the broadcast rights and the various sponsorship deals that the BCCI has in place for the IPL. So, so you're looking at around 350 to 400 crore as a rough number. It's just the income, and from this, all the other expenses go out. So I think about 2-3 years back, there was an overall profitability of around 180 crores, which across teams they managed to make. I think this was 2018 or 19, if I'm not mistaken. So that number has more or less sort of stabilized. It's not a lot about the IPL is not apparent, right from the ownership itself of these companies. Much of it remains subject to a lot of speculation. So I think that the fact in a more in a country with a more regulations in place and with the rule of law, how many of these teams would be able to continue to operate in the manner they do is something that is open to question. I think that really would tell us the story of the IPL.
Cherian, the story of the IPL seems to be that this is one industry, one business, one tournament which is recession proof. We're talking about 2023 in terms of we don't know what's coming next. A lot of global uncertainty, all of that seems like irrelevant when it comes to the IPL. The bet seems to be on the love of the sport of the Indian viewer. This is an extension of the prowess of the Indian viewer's purchasing power, isn't it?
The gods of Indian people, cricket as well as Bollywood, seem to be on a great run as far as financing is concerned and as far as revenue streams are concerned. I think that in some senses, what you're saying is right, that the sport seems insulated from what's happening in the rest of the economy. Does this mean that figures are vastly inflated? I don't think so, because as far as the numbers are concerned, people are still tuning in, and you'll find that advertisers, even though they may be fewer in number, have the ability to ramp up their spend on being visible when cricket is being played. Also, don't forget that the number of days of cricket has steadily been on the rise. So you are seeing the power of the medium, and I'm referring to cricket as a medium, increasing in terms of its mind share. If you take the Football World Cup which is just over, now for the next 4 years, it's going to continue to be cricket, which is the major thing which is on view next year. And next year is a big year for cricket in India anyway. So as far as brands and values of players are concerned, mini auction or not, you are seeing values which are being realized. And as Sumant said, teams are beginning to get profitable. So these prices are only going to get more and more obscene, as Mr. Vasan said.
The question over here is what the choice of these players is telling us. Mr. Datta, let me come to you on that. What is the choice of these players and the kind of astronomical amounts being spent telling you about the composition of these teams and why that money has been bet?
See, the first thing that we see is that a huge amount of money has been spent on English players. So this has a lot to do with the kind of cricket that England has been playing of late, an extremely positive brand of cricket where England scores over 500 runs in a day's test cricket in Pakistan in 75 overs. So, and that team is led by Ben Stokes. So it is the baseball effect, the positivity of the England cricket team, which has its effect. So when these teams are going down to deciding to get their players, they are thinking about these English players who can make a difference. That's why we see such obscene amount of money for guys like Sam Curran, Ben Stokes, etc. And Cameron Green, obviously, as you see, had a great India series just before the T20 World Cup, and that's where about three T20s, and that's where the franchises got fascinated by him. Not that he played anything else, not even a very important role in the T20 World Cup, but once somebody does well in India and the franchises start believing that these guys can play on spinning tracks, they start getting money. And the fact that these all-rounders, they are all-rounders, they are, especially a guy like Green or a guy like Sam Curran, who are young, who will serve their teams for the next few years. That also goes a long way in getting the money that they are getting.
In terms of how the teams are stacking up now, Mr. Datta, after this mini IPL round, how are they looking to you ahead of next year's season?
most teams look extremely balanced. Chennai Super Kings is always a very good team, and now that they let go of Dwayne Bravo and have got Ben Stokes in, and if you look at the team from like 1 to 11, like it's an extremely balanced side, and they believe in senior players who have been there, done that. So that's about CSK. Then Mumbai Indians is believing in youth. They are investing in youth. They are with one Rohit Sharma and Surya Kumar Yadav, senior Indian players there, but they are investing in youth, and that is their policy. And that also looks a good side. And the teams like Gujarat Titans, Lucknow Super Giants, they are set teams coming into the auction. They're RCB, and they have all added some quality players. So it looks a very open IPL to me. Like after the teams have been made, as I glance through the teams, barring probably Sunrisers Hyderabad, uh, I think most of the teams are quite balanced. It's going to be exciting. I don't know whether it will be great cricket or not, because the quality and excitement are not always the same. But it's going to be exciting because the teams are more or less evenly matched.
I see that same kind of point coming from what Atul Vasan is also saying, what Suman was also saying. That is this really about cricket anymore or entertainment?
There's just one.
Yeah, Suman, yes.
Yeah, there's just one point that I want to point out. Unlike a lot of other major franchisees around the world. Sorry, I think Atul, go ahead, please.
Sure, Atul. Atul, you were saying something?
I'm just going to say, it doesn't really matter if you look at the team strength, I'm just saying that, the team balances and all that, we should not be talking, especially on this channel, because the bigger problem is that, have you seen the first IPL season was won by Rajasthan Royals, who didn't spend all their money and didn't buy any big players, and still won it. If you've seen the movie Moneyball, you'll know what I'm talking about. So I think it's just the optics. And the problem with this is you can milk the Indian sports lover, Indian cricket lover so much, only as much, because we have not won anything. So just excite him with IPL and then not won anything in the world cricket is going to cost you. And these figures are not going to last, because I think if you give away 50, 60 million to foreign players, where is the money coming into India? That's me and a person sitting next to me going to the ground and paying for all this circus to go around. And I think if the player cannot be encashed revenue-wise, even if he doesn't play, even if he doesn't perform, and that's the point for the franchises, because it's money after all. It's economics, it's just not cricket. So just don't fool yourself that the balance is right, and it does not guarantee performance. Please, and then the investing in the youth and all is all hogwash, because if somebody gets injured, what about Jofra Archer? What about Nicholas Pooran doing so many years in Punjab King? Didn't do nothing at all. So let's not talk about cricket at all on this show. Let's talk about money. How do you get your money back? There have been, conspiracy theories emanating that some players were bought, like Yuvraj was bought at 15 crores 2 years ago when he was done and dusted. I mean, then the people say that you'll pick you up at 15 crores. There's money going to come back in the kitty, and that's what owners are doing. And this is the scheme of the things. So I think it's just the pride of owning a team. It's not the money. It's not the profits, because the valuation the teams are at. Nobody can make money on this.
So, okay, if you want to talk about the money, why would teams shell out so much money if you're saying, if now this panel today is saying it's not going to impact performance, it's no longer about cricket, it's an investment at the end of the day. So, Man, you want to come in on this?
That's why.
No. Why do people make movies?
Let me get Suman's point of view. Yes.
That is why India is World Cup. Because you've got to pick up the big stars. Let me. I'm just gonna say my 2 pence worth. I'm just gonna say my 2 pence worth and get out, because I'm hardly getting signal. I'm just saying, why does India not win World Cups anymore? Because you've just got to carry the big stars who will not be able to salvage the money the franchise are paying for them when they buy them in the teams. If they're not playing for India,
is it fair to link you've raised an important question. Is it fair to link India's performance on the international forum with IPL? It's a different format. It's a different situation. Yeah. Suman, I want Suman in on this.
No, I think Atul has a point, because I think we need to ask ourselves, when there are literally, we are drowning in money as far as the sport, as far as T20 cricket is concerned. Why is it that we have not won a T20 World Cup since 2007? And we've got to ask ourselves a lot of these questions. Now, forget about the format itself. Let's come to the issue of what is actually going on. 50% of the franchisees, probably even more, do not have a committed fan base at this point of time. And I'm not talking about the new Lucknow team or the Gujarat Titans and so on. Among the earlier teams established, except for Mumbai Indians, CSK, KKR, and RCB to a large extent, many of the other teams simply don't have the kind of a committed fan base which will turn up just to see the team, somewhat like like you have in the English Premier League. The other point is, why are these owners in the IPL? It's a lot like taking a movie. 9 out of 10 movies are not going to recover the money that you invest in them. That has not stopped thousands of people from trying their luck. It's a kind of an addiction. And I think that it's a kind of an addiction which is, in my opinion, is unhealthy, because take the last 10 years and the player who got the highest bid at the auction. Take their performance in that season or the next season. Not one of them has done even as well as they themselves have done.
1 minute, you use the word addiction. What exactly is the addiction? Whose addiction?
It's an addiction to the razzmatazz, to the glamour. I think Dilip would be better positioned to tell us about this, because he's part of the razzmatazz industry in so many ways. But I think that, it is a kind of, it's a high flying event. You move with the movers and shakers. You get huge amount of publicity. Even today's auctions are watched.
You're saying, no, 1 minute. Suman, you're saying this from the point of view of the players or the team owners?
No, the team owners.
Can I say something?
They're the ones who put money. Yeah.
I don't think anyone will year after year keep throwing money because they want to be seen in the same pictures as other high flyers at parties. Okay, Atul wants to come in with a point very quickly. Yes, Atul.
Yeah, because I've got to go. I think, just think of why we're not winning is we've got the big players, the big names. We have a country of 130 crores. We've got 8 players who are playing Test cricket, one-day cricket, and T20 for India, same team. And New Zealand has got a population of half of West Delhi, and they've only got 5 players. So even if 35 lakh people can create a separate T20 team, why don't we have it? Why do we have Virat Kohli, Rohit Sharma, everybody playing T20? Because these guys are going to come and play in franchise cricket, and they are the brands, and they are going to be in cash for the brands. Doesn't matter, because if they don't play for India, the franchise will not be able to salvage the money. Just think about it. We've got the same coaching staff for Test cricket, one-day cricket, T20. Just think about it, and then you know what is the game.
Dilip Cherian, your take on this whole controversy, which is rake tap. They've started with, are these players worth it? According to most on this panel, no. Why so much money being spent, and what is it doing to actual cricket, India's performance on the international stage? Your take on this, Dilip?
I think Suman's point is valid, and I'm going to extend from there. We are making a mistake in seeing this, as Atul wants to see it, as a test bed for cricket, for test cricketers, etc. It is true that being in a test team and being in a T20 team allows you to have the brand value to be bid for at high values. But this is quintessentially a form of entertainment. And like Suman said, like a film business, you take a punt and you are hopefully building up the value of your franchise. Where all franchisees, except for 5, have failed is in creating a value system around their fan base. And that, I think, is probably the reason why this game in this format is not reaching the levels that IPL should have reached. Already, huge amounts of money are being played. But this is a game which is not really part of the kind of contest that cricket is about. So it's really the ability of stars of a certain kind, and I don't buy this argument of money to Indian players versus money to foreign players. I think the game is about having people who have the attractiveness and the razzmatazz to make the game entertaining. And that's what IPL is. IPL at best is a form of high-priced entertainment for those already addicted to the game of cricket. So you're riding on that psychological mass base, and to expect it to actually turn out quality cricketers is not going to happen. It's the other way around. Quality cricketers.
Let's be honest about what IPL is about. It started with these lofty ideals. Mr. Datta, I recall this. Of course, you've seen it on the front lines. IPL started with these lofty ideals that we will create great bench strength for Indian cricket. We will give a chance to those from all across the country. We will, add depth to the talent pool out there. Is it doing all of that, or is it today just about entertainment, eyeballs, ad revenue?
I think it is doing. Their young players are coming up. It is doing. If India is not doing well in World Cups, it is because Indian players are not allowed to play franchisee cricket around the world. If you look at teams like England, Australia, New Zealand, who are even Pakistan, their players are playing franchisee cricket across the world. They're playing T20 cricket. They know no conditions better than many of our players. Harshal Patel or an Aksar Patel, when they go to the World Cup, they are not used to playing T20 cricket in Australia as an England player or a New Zealand player is, because they play Big Bash every year. It is IPL wants to maintain its exclusivity, and that's why they do not allow Indian players to go out and play in other franchisee leagues. So that is where Indian cricket is suffering, despite the fact that they have a bench strength. There is quality. There is enough and more quality in Indian cricket. But the thing is that BCCI is extremely market driven. They are looking at the exclusivity of their product, and that's why they do not want their players to go out and play in other franchisee leagues, which is affecting India's T20 performances in global events.
Yep, absolutely. So interesting conversation here sparked out of this mini auction, which turned out to be quite mega, to be honest. We can look forward to an exciting IPL season next year round. If nothing else, the fact is that crores tune in because it is entertaining. People love it. And while it continues to be popular, why not spend the money? Thank you so much to all of you for joining us this evening on the lead story on the India development debate. I'll take a very short break, but a lot more coming up on the other side. Stay tuned.